So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome, everyone. Very nice to see all of you online. This is a new norm, at least for some time. Hopefully, it will not be for a long time. But we are making the best of everything. Best of the bad bargain, as Srila Prabhupada would say. This is material world. So, today now, we are discussing the second last verse in this chapter 26 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto. This chapter talks about the material creation, material nature, what it is made up of. It is very important, those of us who are really very interested, of course everyone is interested, but those who have got special interest in understanding the ways of how things operate in this world, human beings operate, living beings, all living beings operate, then this is the place, this is the chapter to be understood. So now we are discussing from the verse number 63 to 71. So from 63 there are only translations. In 71 there is the translation and the purport. So what I'll do is I would read the translations from the verse 63 on to 71, and on 71 then we will discuss and we will recite the verse. So I'll read the translations now from verse number 63. This is where the background is that the living being, which is the main Purusha of this material world, he was not awake, he was resting, and all the senses with the demigods they came out and were trying to wake him up. But he did not wake up with the Virat Purusha. He did not wake up. So they all went back inside the Virat Purusha to wake him up again. So this is the point of discussion where we are in. So I'll read the translations, please, from 63 onwards. The god of fire entered his mouth with the organ of speech, but the Virat Purusha could not be aroused. Then the god of wind entered his nostrils with the sense of smell, but still the Virat Purusha refused to be awakened. Then 64, the sun god entered the eyes of the Virat Purusha with the sense of sight, but still the Virat Purusha did not get up. Similarly, the predominating deities of the directions entered through the ears with the sense of hearing, but still he did not get up. The predominating deities of the skin, herbs and seasoning plants entered the skin of the Virat Purusha with the hair of the body, but the cosmic being refused to get up even then. The god predominating over water entered his organ of generation with the faculty of procreation, but the Virat Purusha still did not rise. 66. The god of death entered his anus with the organ of defecation, but the Virat Purusha could not be spurred to activity. And the god Indra entered the hands with their power of grasping and dropping things, but the Virat Purusha would not get up even then. 67. Lord Vishnu entered his feet with the faculty of locomotion, but the Virat Purusha refused to stand up even then. The rivers entered his blood vessels with the blood and the power of circulation, but the cosmic being could not be made to stir. 68. The ocean entered his abdomen with hunger and thirst, but the cosmic being refused to rise even then. The moon god entered his heart with the mind, but the cosmic being would not be aroused. 69. Brahma also entered his heart with intelligence, but even then the cosmic being could not be prevailed upon to get up. Lord Rudra also entered his heart with the ego. But even then, the cosmic being did not stir. Verse 70. However, when the inner controller, the deity presiding over consciousness, entered the heart with reason, at that very moment, the cosmic being arose from the causal waters. I'll repeat this translation again. However, when the inner controller, the deity presiding over consciousness, entered the heart with reason, at that very moment, the cosmic being arose from the causal waters. And the verse for discussion today, verse number 71. So we'll sing this verse. I'll say the first word to word. You can repeat after me. Yatha prasuptam purusham pranendriya mano dhiyah prabhavanti vina yena nothapayitam ojasa yatha prasuptam purusham pranendriya manodhiyah prabhavanti vinayena nothapayitam ojasa yatha prasuptam purusham pranendriya manodhiyah prabhavanti vinayena nothapayitam ojasa yatha prasuptam purusham pranendriya manodhiyah prabhavanti vinayena nothapayitam ojasa. A word-to-word synonyms, translations, and purports by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please, if you can repeat after me. Yatha, just as. Prasuptam, sleeping. Purusham, a man. Prana, the vital air. Indriya, the senses for waking and recording knowledge. Manaha, the mind. Dhiyaha, the intelligence. Prabhavanti, are able. Vina, without. Yena, whom, that is the Supersoul. Na, not. Utthapayitam, to arouse. Ojasa, by their own power. So just as sleeping, the vital air, the senses of working and recording knowledge, the mind, the intelligence are able, without whom, that is the Supersoul, not arouse by their own power. Translation: when a man is sleeping, all his material assets, namely the vital energy, the senses for recording knowledge, the senses for working, the mind and intelligence, cannot arouse him. He can be aroused only when the Supersoul helps him. Very interesting. So we are all awake here because the Supersoul has aroused us. Otherwise, if not, then our time is up to leave this body. Finished. Purport. The explanation of Sankhya philosophy is described here in detail, in the sense that the Virat Purush, or the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the original source of all various sense organs and their presiding deities. The relationship between the Virat Purusha and the presiding deities or the living entities is so intricate, that simply by exercising the sense organs which are related to their presiding deities, the Virat Purusha cannot be aroused. It is not possible to arouse the Virat Purusha or to link with the Supreme Absolute Personality of Godhead by material activities. Only by devotional service and detachment can one perform the process of linking with the Absolute. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. If you can sing with me, please. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavatir Naisthiki. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. So the translation again. When a man is sleeping, all his material assets, namely the vital energy, the senses for recording knowledge, the senses for working, the mind, and the intelligence cannot arouse him. He can be aroused only when the Supersoul helps him. That's how we understood that the Virat Purusha woke up immediately when the vital energy entered into him. That is, Supersoul entered into him. Now we may think that the senses that we have got, the eyes, nose, ears, skin, tongue, they are operating on its own. But here in this verse and this particular chapter, it is proved that the senses are not operating on their own. There are different demigods which control each of these senses. There are senses for hands, the demigods for hands, legs, nose, ears, mouth. Even the subtle mind and the intelligence and the false ego, they all have a particular deva or demigod controlling it. And just by working these senses under the will of that particular demigod, we cannot awake or attract the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who is situated in every living being's heart as the Supersoul or Paramatma. No. The Supersoul is attracted only and only when we employ the senses in the service of the Supersoul, that is Lord Krishna. You see, now as living beings, many of us would be attracted to material sense gratification, and that's why the worshipping of different demigods take place. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, Lord Krishna confirms this, that he is himself the controller of the demigods. He says, Kamaiste ruta gnana prapadyante anya devataha tam niyamam asthaya prakrutya niyataha svaya. Lord Krishna says, and there are other verses with it, following verses. I'll recite all the verses, the translations. So, translation of this verse first. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. I am, he says further, I am in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtain his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So by definition of bhakti, when Srila Narad Muni instructs that when one employs all his or her senses in the service of the master of the senses, when we give up all the designations of the body, the false ego is gone, then these services are accepted by Rishikesha in this pure, uncontaminated form of bhakti. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesham bhakti ruchyate. Now the gopis employed all their senses in the service of Krishna, giving up all the designations, their family, their friends, relatives, children, everything. Now, gopis is not about one particular sect or one particular kind of people who are living in Vrindavan. There's a definition of gopi. It says, Gaubihi bhakti rasam pibati iti gopi. See, Gaubihi means with all the senses. Bhakti rasam means the nectar of bhakti. Pibati, one who drinks. Iti gopi is a gopi. You see, this is the definition. That when with all our senses, in uncontaminated way, when we accept the service and we perform the service to the master of the senses, then that particular bhakti is called gopi bhav bhakti. So, further in the chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains in the Yoga of the Supreme Person about the Super Soul. He says, Sarvasya chaham rudisannivishto mattah smrutir gnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarve rahameva vedyo vedanta krudveda videva chaham. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Krishna says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Now, in the first part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes and gives more information about the Supersoul or Paramatma, which Krishna is referring to here. Srila Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Lord is situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and it is from Him that all activities are initiated. The living entity forgets everything of his past life, but he has to act according to the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is the witness to all his work. You see? So we forget our past lives' activities, but it is through the will of the Supersoul that we act. It's so interesting that we have got this body, present body, based upon our past actions of the previous lives, but we don't remember the previous lives. That is where the Supersoul reminds us, because the Supersoul was with us in the previous life and the present life. Our body has changed, but he has remained the same. That is the reason why Srila Prabhupada says that the living entity forgets everything of his past life, but he has to act according to the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is a witness to all his work. Therefore, he begins his work according to his past deeds. Required knowledge is supplied to him, and remembrance is given to him, and he forgets also about his past life. Thus the Lord is not only all-pervading, he is also localized in every individual heart. He awards the different fruitive results. He is not only worshipable as the impersonal Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the localized Paramatma, but as the form of the incarnation of the Vedas as well. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, the Supersoul, who is the dearest friend of all living entities, and how a living entity gets enamored by the material world and forgets his relationship with the Supersoul, is narrated in a very beautiful story by Srila Narad Muni. This story is about King Puranjan. It is very apt in this regard. So we will discuss this story. What had happened many years ago, Lord Shiva had instructed the sons of King Prachin Barhishat, the Prachetas, on the instructions of devotional service. After instructing the Prachetas, Lord Shiva disappeared. Of course, this devotional service is for Lord Vishnu. Now, all the Prachetas simply stood in the water for 10,000 years, and they all recited the prayers which were given to them by Lord Shiva. Now, while the princes were undergoing these severe austerities for 10,000 years, their father, the king Prachin Barhishat, was performing different types of fruitive activities. You see, he was constantly engaged in these fruitive activities, karmakan, to get material results and enjoy the material activities. Narad Muni saw this. He says, oh, this is such a great king. He has such a great children, his sons, and he is performing material activities. So he goes and approaches King Prachin Barhishat and tells him, what are you doing? This is not right for you. So King Prachin Barhishat tells him, I don't know anything else. My knowledge is very limited. I am very much involved in material sense gratification. So please, can you tell me these activities of devotional service which you are talking about? So, because he was so grossly materially attached, Narad Muni then instructs him about devotional service through a story of a King Puranjan. He's a namesake. So he said, there lived in the past a king named Puranjan, Narad Muni said. He was very celebrated for his great activities. He also had a very intimate friend. His intimate friend's name was Avignath. Please remember this, his beautiful friend by the name Avignath. He's a very important character in this story. It's a long story. We'll move very fast. Now, Avignath in Sanskrit meaning the unknown one. So no one could understand the activities of Avignath. See, he was with him all the time, with Puranjan. But even Puranjan did not know the activities of Avignath. They would go travel together, enjoy life carelessly, in different planets, in the spiritual world, enjoying mountains, rivers. Over a period of time, King Puranjana thought in his heart, I need to find a suitable place to live. So he traveled in the material world everywhere. Said, I should be traveling. Now he wanted a place where he wanted to not only live, but his senses would be enjoyed the most. And very quickly he found that his senses were, the desires that he had in his mind were unlimited. And he could not find a place where his unlimited senses, unlimited desires through the senses could be satisfied. He became very morose. He said, there is no place in this material world to enjoy. At last, he came on the southern side of the Himalaya mountain to a place named Bharatvarsh, the very beautiful place which today also exists by the name India. In that particular place of Bharatvarsh, there was a city of 9 gates. When he entered the city of 9 gates, he saw that there were walls, parks, towers, canals, windows and outlets. The houses were decorated with domes made up of gold, silver and iron. He saw that the floors of the houses were made up of sapphires, crystal, diamonds, pearls, emeralds and rubies. Because of the luster of the houses in the capital, the city was compared to the celestial town known as Bhogavati, where the sense enjoyment is the highest in Bhogavati. In that city, many houses were assembled, street crossings were there, streets were there, gambling houses, markets, resting places, flags, fashions, beautiful parks surrounded the city. As he was seeing this, he was mesmerized. And suddenly, this Puranjana saw a beautiful woman. This beautiful woman was walking without any engagement, walking here and there. Now this woman had 10 servants with her. And each of these servants had hundreds of wives accompanying them. The woman also was protected from all the sides by a 5-hooded snake. She was very beautiful and young, and it seemed that she was very anxious to find a suitable husband. And then there's a description of the woman. She had beautiful teeth, nose, forehead was beautiful, her ears were equally very beautiful, and they were bedecked with dazzling earrings. Her waist and hips were very beautiful. She wore a yellow sari with a golden belt. And as she walked, the ankle bells rang. And that was very attractive to King Puranjana because it was exactly like denizens of heaven. King Puranjana, our hero, became very attracted by her eyebrows and the smiles of the beautiful woman. And this immediately pierced like arrows in his heart of her lusty desires. And when she smiled shyly, finished. Although he was a hero, he could not refrain from addressing her. So then our hero, King Puranjan, became, as he was mesmerized by her, he was asking, who are you, young lady? Whose daughter are you? You appear to be very chaste and shy. are you goddess Parvati? Because you are so beautiful. Or you are goddess Saraswati. Or you are goddess Lakshmi. When somebody is totally mesmerizing, beautiful woman, he starts to think all these things. Of course, she was none of them. And then he still thought, wow, you are none of them because your feet are touching the ground actually. So you are from this planet only. But you are so beautiful, just like the goddess of fortune accompanying Lord Vishnu in the Vaikuntha planets. She enhances the Vaikuntha planets. So you are enhancing the city where whoever owns you, whoever becomes your husband. And then he started to sell himself to her. He says, I am a beautiful, powerful king of this planet. Now the girl responds, O best of the human beings, I do not know where I came from. He says, I cannot say specifically about this, nor do I know the names and origins of my associates who are there. He said, oh great hero, I only know and they only know that we are just there. No? Indeed, we are so foolish that we do not care to understand who created us. He says, my dear gentlemen, all these men and women with me are known as my friends. And the snake, which is protecting me, remains awake throughout, day and night, protects the city even during the sleeping hours. I only know this much. More than this, I don't know. That in this city of 9 gates, there are all kinds of sense gratification we have arranged for you. So I invite you to come inside this city of 9 gates, in the city of Panchal. It's called Panchal, city of 5 senses, and enjoy yourself. Your sense gratification, we got everything supplied for sense gratification unlimitedly. You see, at that time the great sage Narad continued, so my dear king, to King Prachin Barhishit, the two of them, Puranjana and Puranjani, supporting one another through mutual understanding, entered the city and enjoyed life for 100 years. The city of 9 gates is the body. See, says that many professional singers used to sing the glories of King Puranjan and his glorious activities. When it was too hot, Puranjan with Puranjani and all their servants, men and women, they would go out in beautiful parks, in the reservoir of water, accompanying them, he would enjoy the cool breezes there. As time passed, the queen, he was very attached to the queen, Puranjana became attached to the Puranjani. So when the queen would drink alcohol, he would also drink alcohol. When the queen would smile, he would smile. She would laugh, he would laugh. He became hand-packed husband. When she would become very thoughtful, he would become thoughtful. When she would smell something, flower, he would also go and smell the flower, following her completely, When she would become morose, he would also become morose. And he would do everything within his rights to make sure that her moroseness goes away. Like this, a poor king, he was completely enamored by her and tried to satisfy the queen with every possible means to him. Sorry, the sun rays are coming straight on me, so I'm moving a bit. The king was so captivated by his nice wife that actually he got cheated. The wife is none other than his intelligence, enjoying the material senses. He's cheated for his whole existence in the material world. And his foolish desire, the king's desire to remain under the wife's control, just like a pet animal that dances according to the order of its master. He became a servant of the material senses. You see, after that, to enjoy more, he begat 1,100 sons in the womb of Puranjani and about 110 daughters, equally qualified daughters from Puranjani. Now they in turn were married as they grew up. Time passed. He married all the sons and daughters to qualified people, and they had their own children. King Puranjan became attached not only to his wife but to his children, and now to his grandchildren also. But the problem was that there were so many in numbers that his Panchal Desh, his whole city by the name of Panchal, was completely overpowered and overrun by this many, his own family members. And they were plundering his riches constantly. I want this, I want that. His treasures went down. As his treasury went down, he started to worship the demigods, his forefathers and social leaders. And some of the sacrifices were very ghastly because animals had to be killed for this. Now, like this, he was somehow or other managing his life in his city, enjoying and suffering. At the same time, in another place, in the Gandharva Loka, there was a king named Chandavega. Chandavega had 360 very powerful Gandharva soldiers with him. And they also had 360 the Gandharvis as the women soldiers helping Chandavega. Now Chandavega would go and conquer everything wherever he found that there was enjoyment there, money there, wealth there. That's how he came and attacked King Puranjana's city of 9 gates, the Panchal. King Puranjana's 5-hooded serpent, who was protecting the city, fought with these Gandharvas. 720 of them. But because he was only one, there were 720 fighters of Gandharvas and Gandharvis. He was becoming weak. As the snake was becoming weak, the 5-hooded snake, Puranjana and the citizens of the city, they all became very anxious. Around the same time, in other place, a daughter of time, Kal's daughter by the name Jara, was also called Kalakanya. She was looking for a suitable husband to get married. Now Kalakanya or Jara means old age. Nobody wants old age, you see. Everybody wants to run away from old age. Even the material scientists are finding cure for old age. But this Jara, as nobody was accepting him, wherever she went, whomever she went close to became old and died. But when she saw Narad Muni, the celebrated brahmachari, when Narad Muni were coming from Brahmalok down, she was very attracted to this person. As she approached to Narad Muni's luster did not change. He was still very young. So she was very attracted to him. She said, this is very nice. So she went to Narad Muni and said, my name is Jara, Kalakanya. I am also called Durbhaga, very ill-fated. I like you very much. I want to be with you. Please accept me as yours. Narad Muni said, I am a Naistika brahmachari. I cannot accept any woman as mine. So you please find some other suitable husband. At that time, this Kalakanya, this Jara, she cursed Narad Muni and said that, okay, you don't want me, then I curse you that you will never be in one place. You will travel everywhere all the time. Well, this was a blessing to Narad Muni. This is what he wanted all the time. As devotees, especially those who are in the renounced order of life, they don't stay in one place for long. After 3-4 days, they keep moving. This is how Narad Muni kept on moving. But he told her, there is a great Yavana king. He will want you to be his wife. The Yavana king was actually Bhaya, fear. This actually was fear. So he will accept you as Jara, as his wife, old age as his wife. So go and approach him. So she goes and approach Yavana king, and she proposed him, please, marry me, because everyone is baffled by me. You are the only one who are very nice, not baffled. And Narad Muni has sent me to you. So he said, well, you are a very unfortunate person, woman. I cannot marry you. Nobody can marry you. Forget about this. Let's be very serious about it. Nobody wants old age. But he said, I can do one thing to you. I can make you my sister. So along with the brother and the sister, this bhaya with the old age, they said, now we will stay together and plunder the riches of the rich people. All those people who have worked so hard for the riches, we are going to go to their homes and their cities, destroy the cities, take the riches from them. That's how they searched out and came to Puranjan city of 9 gates. No? And the city is Panchal, as we know. And it was attacked now from both the sides. The Gandharvas were attacking, and now even Bhaya attacked with Kalakanya. And Puranjana saw him defeated. In this defeated state, he was old. That's when the Kalakanya, Jara, most unfortunate, she embraced him. See, so old age embraced him. At this stage, King Puranjana saw that his city of 9 gates was being destroyed. His children, whom he loved so much, he had kept so much treasury, became a bit aloof from him. His wife, whom he loved so much throughout his life, became her pet dog. She also neglected him, became indifferent towards him, became cold towards him. In this thought of I and mine, King Puranjana left his body, left the city of 9 gates. As he left the city of 9 gates, Puranjana died, remembering his wife. And as we know, in the story of Bharat Maharaj, the great king, when he left his body remembering a deer, he became a deer in his next life. So King Puranjana also took birth again as a woman. And this time he took birth as a woman because of his karma kandiya activities. He took birth in a prosperous family, in a place, again in India, Bharatavarsha, as a daughter of a king of Vidarbha. Now Vidarbha is in the western side of India, in the state of Maharashtra. You would like to know that Mother Rukmini also comes from Vidarbha only. So she is born as the daughter of King Vidarbha in the house of that. As she grows up with a lot of facilities provided to her now, Puranjana, she then ultimately gets married to a king called Malayadhwaj. I'll move very fast now. Now, she was very attached to Malayadhwaj, the king. See, now as a woman, next birth, attached to the husband. Before previous birth, as a man, Puranjana attached to the woman, his wife, Puranjani. She was very attached. But unfortunately, Malayadhwaj left his body very soon, at a young age. At the time, with great lamentation, this lady, Puranjana in his woman form, at the time of burning the pyre, of the body, she decided, I also want to leave this body now. I'm also now going to set myself in the chitta of my husband, Malayadhwaj. So she was about to burn herself due to intense attachment of her husband. That is when a Brahmana came. The Brahmana saw this woman and told him, I'm your old friend. Says, he was an old friend of Malayadhwaj. Remember, I told you, Avignata, the unknown one, the original friend of Puranjana. He says, my dear friend, even though you cannot immediately recognize me, can't remember me, that in the past, you and me were a very intimate friend. Unfortunately, you gave up my company and now have accepted a position of an enjoyer of this material world. So my dear gentle friend, both you and I are exactly like 2 swans who live together in the same heart, which is just like the Manasa lake. Although we have been living together for many thousands of years, we are still far away from our original home. He says, my dear friend, you are now my friend, same friend, since you left me. You have become more and more materialistic, and not seeing me, you have been traveling in different forms throughout the material world, which was created by some woman and material enjoyment. Actually, you are not the daughter of Vidarbha, nor is this man Maladhvaj your well-wishing husband, nor were you the actual husband of Puranjani in his previous life. You were simply captivated by this body of 9 gates. He says, my dear friend, I, the Supersoul, and you, the individual soul, are not different in quality. We are both spiritual. Like this, the Narad Muni continued that the word Pramada mentioned in this regard refers to the material intelligence. The Puranjani in the previous life was a material intelligence or ignorance. It is to be understood as such that one takes shelter of this kind of intelligence. He identifies himself with material body of I and mine. The 5 working senses, the 5 senses that acquire knowledge, are all the male friends of Puranjani. The 10 friends she had. And the living entity is assisted by these senses in acquiring knowledge and engaging in activities. It says. So the 11th attendant, there were 11 attendants, if you remember, of that beautiful woman. The 11th was, who is the commander of others, is known as the mind. He is a leader of the senses, both for acquiring knowledge and performance. The Panchal kingdom of King Puranjan is that atmosphere in which the 5 sense objects are enjoyed. Within the Panchal kingdom is the city of the body, which has 9 gates, made up of eyes, nostrils, ears, the pairs of the gates. There are mouth, genitals, and rectum. These are the 9 gates. The Kala Kanya is to be understood as old age, Jara. No one wants to accept old age, but Yavanaraj, who is death, Bhaya, death, accepts Jara, old age, as his sister. You see? So the living entity by nature, now Narad Muni explains this point to King Prachin Barishat. The living entity by nature has very minute independence to choose his own good and bad fortune. But when he forgets the Supreme Master, the personality of Godhead, he gives himself up to the modes of material nature. Being induced by the material modes of nature, he identifies himself with the body, and with it, the different types of bodies he gets. When Narad Muni's instructions, this katha was complete, King Prachin Barishat, the father of the Prachetas, his eyes opened. He told his ministers to say, my eyes are now open thanks to Narad Muni. I am now leaving this place, and I'm giving this place when my Prachetas, when the sons, when they come back from their austerity, please give them this kingdom to run. And he went to a very holy dham known as Kapila Ashram, where Lord Kapil Dev was living in his place. You see, this is the story of King Puranjana. Very instructive. Now, just to conclude, as we have come to this second last verse of this chapter, this chapter gave us information about the material world, how it is created. Just to quickly summarize in few points. The underlying principle is that consciousness in the material world is material consciousness because it is under the mode of ignorance. Therefore, one has to purify one's consciousness. And the purificatory process is Bhakti Yoga, or more precisely, Krishna consciousness. It is this consciousness that Krishna is the factual owner of everything, material and spiritual. At this time, the false ego disappears. It is false, you see. The identification of the body with the self is called false identification or false ego. And when the false ego disappears, immediately the blazing fire of material existence is over. When we understand our real identity, which is that of the spirit soul, and our only business is Jivera Swarupa Hoy Nityera Krishna Das. At this point in time, one is freed from the clutches of Maya. As soon as one is freed from the false ego, one's intelligence also becomes purified. And then his mind is engaged upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is when one can really understand what the gopis did, and you can follow in the footsteps. Gaubihi bhakti rasam pibati iti gopi. One who utilizes all his senses to drink the bhakti rasam, nectar of bhakti of Lord Krishna, by giving up all designations. That is the gopi, and that is the perfection of life. Lord Krishna finally, in the chapter 18, concludes with this very beautiful verse. Lord Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato gnatva vishate tad anantaram. Lord Krishna says, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. This is what I understood from today's verse and discussion, which I'll read the translation again. That when a man is sleeping, all his material assets, namely the vital energy, the senses for recording knowledge, the senses for working, the mind and the intelligence cannot arouse him. He can be aroused only by the Supersoul, when the Supersoul helps him. So this is what we discussed about the Supersoul, the quality of satisfying one's senses by worshipping the demigods. We discussed about the Supersoul's existence, how it helps. We saw this from the discussions of the story, the Katha of King Puranjana, which was narrated by Narad Muni to King Prachin Barhishat. And with that, we summarized this chapter. And then, at concluding, we saw what Lord Krishna says, that one can understand Supreme Personality of Godhead only by bhakti. And only in that full consciousness of devotion, one can at the end leave the body of 9 gates, enter into the kingdom of God. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. This is what I understood. All of you are equally qualified students and authorities of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. If you would like to share your realizations, please feel free. I'll keep it open for a few seconds. Thank you very much. Please feel free to comment, and I can read up the comment and then discuss the points. Okay, no? So thank you very much. Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Shri Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Param Vijayate, Shri Krishna Sankirtan, Mahayagna ki jai, Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.